everyone. We're here to talk about
No,
the Teenage Kraken.
no. Ruby Gillman, I'm sorry. Just like DreamWorks is marketing for this movie, we're not talking about you.
Hey.
Instead, we're not Ben 10, but we are talking about the top 10 of 2010.
Yeah.
Some of these are 10 out of 10.
It's the year I graduated high school.
10 out of 10.
I mean, it's fine.
I was a sophomore.
Sure, I had a really bad beard. Like a gross beard.
Not going to say anything about your current beard.
My current beard's okay.
Look, rate them in the comments.
I'll send you a picture. And actually, this time I will actually send you a picture.
Oh, okay, sure.
And you'll see how disgusting it was.
I look the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Like
You haven't aged.
Not at all. I might have like longer hair back. It's like kind of similar to yours, but like puffy.
So you're saying like I'm like high schooler. I'm still in.
Yeah. No.
High schooler?
So cool.
This is the longest intro ever.
Movies.
Hello, everyone. Top 10 of 2010. Yep, we're in a new decade.
What do we call this? The aughts or
No. This is the teens.
The teens?
The 10s.
Yeah.
Is that like official? Like the 10s?
I think so. I believe it is the 2010s.
Well, that makes
2010s.
sense. 2010s.
And then 2020s. And then at a point when Generation Alpha takes over, they're like, that's the 20s. That's the 20s.
Right, yeah, whatever.
I'm sure we'll get like a cute little name eventually for the 2010s. Like,
The Depression era? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, out of the 10 movies that were the highest grossing of this year, only one of them made our top 10.
Interesting. I will say also before we start, best year for 3D movies.
Right, Avatar.
Because you're coming, like Avatar's still in there from 2009, but also Jackass 3D and Step Up 3.
Ooh.
And Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
I saw Clash of the Titans in 3D, and there was one cool part in it, and that's about it.
All right, let's get number 10 is Four Lions. From the perspective of four British dudes that want to basically be terrorists. On paper, does not sound like a comedy. But watching the movie, it's hilarious because they're all bad at being terrorists. And it's like a post 9/11 sort of like look at terrorism and like breaking down the stereotypes that you've seen in movies and stuff over the past decade. And so it's really fun. Pretty sure Riz Ahmed's in it. And
I do like him. It's
just a really fun movie because they fail at every outset they're trying to do. And I implore you to go watch it. Number 9, I'm glad JD put this high on his list.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't, us being in Arkansas, not putting an Arkansas-based movie on the list, we'd probably get some hate comments.
Yeah.
But we're talking about True Grit, the remake by the Coen brothers.
I think of the better version of the movie. I'm just not a John Wayne fan.
That's a hot take.
I know, but I'm just not a John Wayne fan. It's like I get it. It seems like grittier.
Mm-hmm. It is grittier. Yeah.
It's grittier. I think the Coen brothers do really well when they're not also like some of my favorite Coen brothers movies are the ones that aren't just like very Coen brothers movies. They seem a little bit more.
This one's like studio-y.
Yeah, like I feel that way about No Country for Old Men and a few others that you're like, man, it's just a really freaking good movie. And you got like really the early days of Jeff Bridges mumbling. Like, you weren't all brave. You know, like it's just
and it introduced I forget her name.
Oh, Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld's so good in this.
I mean, she's great. I love this movie, and I feel like we don't talk about it enough. Like, it was a movie that blew up for a second, and then I just feel like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the Coen Brothers did remake."
I feel,
it's good.
Yeah, I feel like Coen Brothers post No Country for Old Men is them just doing whatever they want, and so probably that's why it gets lost in the shuffle is because they kind of sense No Country just doing whatever, and
I respect
they're just having fun. So,
and we talked about this before. I am a big fan of this like new wave of westerns. Not like where they're just all like, boom, like here's a billion of them, but like they seem people who do them like have a lot of care for them, like Hell or High Water, this. 310 to Yuma, and I just love that aesthetic. I love taking that old western, you know, that seemed like kind of sanitized and just making it real dirty.
Number 8, we have Javier Bardem coming hot off of No Country for Old Men and makes Biutiful, which I think is a better performance than what he had in No Country. It's a haunting movie. He's playing a career criminal, and he basically feels the weight of, so this tragic event happens in the movie, and he's feeling the weight of it, and he starts seeing like their spirits and stuff in weird different ways. And the way it's shot is like super beautiful. I mean, obviously Inarritu is like one of the goated filmmakers, so it's like, I think he wanted to prove that he could do something out of just like making a character like he did in No Country. So he's playing this like, just this dude stricken with loss because he feels like this accident was his fault. And it's just a beautiful movie. And I think that's this top 10 list, I think is about filmmakers making these movies that are just like from the heart.
Yeah.
Because all of them.
That's true. Yeah.
It's true.
So, well, you'll see. You'll see.
It was a good year.
Now, we got a back-to-back here for you. If you're from Boston.
Double B's.
Oh, here we go.
If you're from Boston.
The Boston, the go to the harbor, watch the town. I can't speak Boston.
The town's not yet.
Oh, it's the other one.
Again,
The Fighter.
The Fighter.
With Wahlberg.
Fighter.
Based on a true story. Christian Bale, Mark Wahlberg,
They're both
Amy Adams. Oh my God. Okay.
The
Melissa
filmmaker we
Melissa
can't talk
Leo.
about.
Before we even talk about this movie, the family of the two brothers is exactly what my aunts are like. And when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh God, I can't watch this movie anymore. So I had to pause it. I didn't watch it in theaters. I had to pause it, and I just like walked out of the room for like 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, you gotta finish the movie.
Prepare yourself.
Just a loud family that fights all the time, but at the end of the day loves each other.
Yeah. I mean, again, this year, probably more than any year, just performance after performance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bale on like a hot streak, and a weird streak of like Batman and this and a couple other things.
It goes high, then low.
And Hitches in the middle of like a bunch of just up and down with him. But I mean, he wins the Oscar for this, and deservedly, and so does Melissa Leo, right? Like, two great performances. I mean, Wahlberg's great. I mean, it's just Boston boy.
He's not what you go to watch the movie for, even though he's the main character.
Like, I remember vividly, I saw this movie on the quad of my college. They were doing a movie night, and it was like early October, and it was so cold. I didn't have a jacket. I was sitting on concrete, didn't have, because I just walked by, and they're like, "Oh, they're watching The Fighter." I go, "Oh, I'll just watch it." And that's how I saw it. It was so. I mean, I couldn't leave. It was so good.
Very good movie, and it's kind of like it's like a more gritty Rocky, I guess. It's
like a modern Rocky.
It makes you feel good while watching it, while also feeling terrible. And performances are great. Filmmaker is a jerk, but what are you gonna do? Is the fighter in South Boston? Are these two Southie movies?
Lynn is north of Boston. The town is South Boston.
Okay.
All right. Number 6 is The Town.
Going across the city.
Directed by Ben Affleck. Obviously, he's from South Boston, but Jeremy Renner's in this.
Blake Lively.
Peter Postlethwaite.
John Hamm.
And it's a crime movie. I mean, if you've seen Heat, it's Heat, but if it happens in Boston.
Yeah, it's specifically at Fenway Park.
At Fenway.
Like a very cool 30-minute scene. Yeah. It's so good.
That's why they said, hey, we want to make Heat, but in Boston.
What's the most
Boston thing we can run? Fenway Park.
I think this is the movie that sold studios on letting Ben Affleck make whatever movie he wants. Obviously, he made Gone Baby Gone, and they were like, okay, you maybe got talent, so here's The Town. And obviously, he probably pitched The Town to them, and he knocked it out of the park. Like, it may not be like the perfect movie, but it's proof that he can make any story amazing.
Yeah.
And then he follows it up with Argo, which is mostly just people standing around waiting for things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Town it really is, there's got so many great images, and I think that's what I think about with Affleck directing is he takes a movie like an Argo, like the Town, and he's like, what if we put him in like Nun Mask? I think this kind of is his, hey, look, I can do the really cool stuff, really emotional stuff, and direct action as well. I love a heist. I love a Jeremy Renner heist, like Jeremy Renner hot off of Hurt Locker too.
Yeah, the year after.
Yeah.
So wait,
and he's scary.
He is horrifying.
He
and
is
then
so
one of the coolest
scary.
lines ever where Ben Affleck has this really long, I can't tell you what we're doing. We're going to hurt some people, blah, blah, blah. He's like, where are we going? Like, that line's so good.
Number 5, we have Inception, the only movie from the top 10 of highest grossing of that year.
Yeah, it started the wah.
We've talked about this movie quite a bit on this dumb channel. Christopher Nolan at his probably peak Christopher Nolanist.
Very much.
Yeah.
Playing with time, playing with dreams, playing with just like slow-mo, fast-mo, all kinds of stuff. Music, sound, CGI mixed perfectly with practical effects.
Oh, man. And the I don't know how they did it with the Joseph Gordon-Levitt fighting and the...
They just turned it all in.
I guess we know exactly how it
I think
happened.
this movie ruins First Class, right?
Yeah, X-Men First Class had to rewrite itself because of this movie.
Honestly, I think this movie may have created Film Bros. Or that film Twitter, kind of that annoying thing.
I think it did.
And
actually.
I guess that's... and if we're going to talk two things about it, it's wrong and that. But it's fun. I rewatched it a couple years ago, and it holds up as a movie. I mean, I think Leo is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think, he's been better in other things, but I think this is a really nice, normal performance like that we don't see from Leo anymore.
Yeah. He's just like a straight-laced straight man. He doesn't yell at all, I don't think.
Tom Hardy kind of blows up after this.
Yeah. Elliot Page probably does the most heavy lifting in this movie because he has to play the character who's just questioning everything.
And they're us, And
it's so hard to do that in a movie. But Page handles it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Cotillard is also wonderful. I will say there are times I'm like, is this a little too on the nose?
Yes, it is.
It is. But it's still it's just fun. Again, I love a heist.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's a mind heist, but we're not stealing anything.
They're stealing ideas.
He's also in that movie.
Yes.
I just made a connection that he's
my God.
Yeah. It's like, but we're not stealing anything, we're putting something in there, It just, that last maybe 20 minutes is also just so emotional. Like the Zimmer score and then Cillian Murphy finding the photograph and the pinhole, even though it's not real, and you're just like, oh my God, my dad wanted me to make my own.
And them waking up on the plane afterwards is probably the coolest moment of all, because gosh darn it, we did it.
Yeah, we did it, and we're just waking up.
It's like how some people feel at the end of Shawshank. It's like, oh, they finally did it type of feeling.
Or did they?
Shawshank?
No, sorry, Inception.
Nah, I think they did.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Number 4, an actual box office bomb, but it's now a cult classic, is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Obviously, us, when we saw it, when it came out,
I was on board 100%.
I loved it so much.
It took the general audience a little bit to sort of find it, because it's a story about a dude who's wrong almost the entire movie.
He's awful. It's an awful person.
But also his girlfriend is also trying to right her wrongs as well throughout it. So it's a lot of layers, and it's very much the most comic book movie of all comic book movies.
And video game.
Video game too.
Yeah.
And it's just Edgar Wright being as stylistic as he possibly can, and I love it. The editing is just unbelievably good. You'll just take someone tying a shoe and it's funny. I don't know how he does it, but it's good.
It's corny too.
A little bit.
It's just fun, and it's got the cast before everyone blows up. I mean,
every
Chris
single
Evans,
person.
just maybe the best performance of Chris Evans' life, honestly.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
That's Culkin before Succession.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Everyone's it's just a movie that is at 100% the whole time.
Yeah.
And that can be nauseating and can maybe cause a headache for some, but I love it. I think it's really great. I'm glad they're doing a cartoon now. But yeah, it is very much, it's a movie we should try to take back, much like 500 Days of Summer that we talked about a couple of videos ago.
Yeah.
Where it's you shouldn't look up to this guy.
Yeah.
He's not great. He's dating a high schooler. It's so good. Yeah, soundtrack it's a great movie.
Yes.
It's very 2010 though.
Speaking of very 2010, number 3, we have the complete opposite spectrum, where Scott Pilgrim is bombastic and loud and crazy. Same with Inception. You get Blue Valentine, which is just the saddest movie you will ever come across.
That's why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Because everyone tells me
It's
that.
my number one.
Directed by Derek Cianfrance, Ryan Gosling, and Michelle Williams.
You're watching two people fall in love and then out of love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just... And you're watching them simultaneously.
And it's not happening. It's not happening quick like rom-coms.
Yeah.
This is over years.
Yeah, and you see like they get together after like a relationship goes wrong with her, and it's just and like he is kind of this father figure to this, and it is so heartbreaking, and like you feel for both characters. It's a great movie of like you hate it for both of them. There's not like a person you're like, oh, like how dare they? Like you really legit. There are just parts that like you just want to cry, like with the daughter, like when he's leaving, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like it is so sad.
I'm sold.
I've only seen it like once.
I watch it. I mean, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I love sad movies. The scene where he's putting up, when you rewatch it, the scene where he's putting up the matchboxes on the wall, and like the other mementos is just so heartbreaking because you know what's coming after, But, you know, I've watched Place Beyond the Pines and a couple other of his the director's movies, and he's just so good at his craft at tugging at your heartstrings in ways that you don't expect him to be emotional. Yeah. All right, number 2, we're going to give the floor to Zach because he does not shut up talking about this movie.
You mean the perfect movie ever made? Not ever made, but one of them?
We're talking about Social Network by David Fincher. Take it away, Zach.
It has a screenplay that is like 160 pages, and they somehow made it 2 hours. The editing is so freaking good, and it's like somehow interesting. And I don't know editing enough to talk about that. The performances are amazing. The soundtrack. This was the first one. Yeah. Or one of the first. Is it the first?
It was the first one.
The first one that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross made. Have I talked about Sorkin? This is his best screenplay. Every line is incredibly clever and funny. It's heartbreaking, and it's still relevant. This movie is 13 years old now.
Yep.
I remember exactly where I was when I saw it, and it's still being talked about. It's still relevant, and I guarantee you in like 25 years when they're like the best movies of the 2000s or the 21st century, this is going to be in it.
Yeah.
It should have won the Oscars.
I mean, it should have won Best Picture.
Should have.
Yeah. Over the King's Speech. I like King's Speech, honestly. But
It really, I mean, it may be, I don't know, it's hard to say. Fincher has so many like great movies.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about Fincher.
It may be his best. To me, who do you think's the best performance?
It's a tie between.
And why is Garfield, honestly?
Garfield is amazing in this.
Garfield is so good in this movie. You know what scene I'll watch just any time of day? When he walks into and slams the laptop.
That's a good scene. I think Rooney Mara gives the best performance because it sets the tone for the movie and who Zuckerberg in the movie is. I don't know what he's like real life, but probably as close to that.
Similar.
So
have we decided what is cooler, $1 billion or $1 million?
Yes.
I think $1 million is cooler.
I would rather.
$1 million?
Yes.
You become a different person if you're a billionaire.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, they did. Like
you sell out hardcore, so that's not cool to sell out. Well, you sell out a little, just enough to get your little nest egg in the middle.
Yeah, or a loblolly mug.
Yeah, it's over there somewhere. All right, number 1. A lot of people probably haven't seen this movie because it's very indie. But it's directed by Mike Mills. It's got Ewan McGregor. It's got Christopher Plummer. It's got Melanie Laurent. And it's about a lot of things, but it's mainly Christopher Plummer won his Oscar off of his performance. It's about a dude really late in life learning that he's gay, and the son trying to grapple with like how to feel about that. And this is like, you know, as the world's starting to get used to like acceptance among LGBT people. So this movie, I think, is just played in such a way that is very indie, obviously, but the music is great. There's a scene at a party where Melanie Laurent's character is not talking because she's sick, and she communicates only through a book, a little notebook, which is describing it, very 2010s.
Very cute.
But it just adorable. Hits the heart in the right way. It's sad but cute. It's not Blue Valentine sad.
Well,
right.
And I think too, what I love about this movie is just its look at love. that like, what is love? Like, what do we like? Just that it's not exactly what you think. It is just a really great look at for Ewan, who's maybe going through this early relationship, and then his father who's in this one relationship, and you're like, and he's questioning a lot. It was just really good. It's a great movie. Just not a love movie. It's just about love, and it's I haven't seen it in several years now. I want it. It's one that when I see it, I'm like, I want to go back and want to watch it. And the dog, right? There's a dog.
There's a dog, yeah.
There's a dog.
Mm-hmm. That talks.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
We started this list not expecting it to be probably our best list, but I think we did a good job here.
It's very good.
Knowing what we know about the next couple years.
Well, 2012, good luck.
2012 was a rough one.
Yeah.
But 2011 was also a low-key rough one.
I don't think until like 2014 we start getting like really great movies.
You know the only movie I can think of in 2011?
Moneyball.
Oh, sorry.
Sorkin?
I kind of forgot about that, but I was going to say Green Lantern. So I can think of like what movie came out.
All right. Goodbye.
Un esercito di